We begin tonight at the 31st Economic Summit, which opened in Abuja on Monday. The opening ceremony featured addresses from Vice President Kashim Shettima, Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, and Chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, Nii Yusuf. New Centrist correspondent Joshua Imaraye has the details.
It was the opening ceremony of the 31st Nigerian Economic Summit, hosted by the Nigerian Economic Summit Group in collaboration with the Ministry of Budget and National Planning. The event drew senior government officials, private sector leaders, and experts from various sectors of the economy. In his remarks, Chairman of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, Nii Yusuf, says that while notable reforms are being implemented by government, more needs to be done to ensure consolidation and sustainability.
Today, as we gather for Next 31, we do so against the backdrop of bold reforms already underway. The government has taken courageous steps. The removal of the fuel subsidies, the unification of foreign exchange markets, tax reforms, amongst others. These are reforms that demanded huge courage and immense political will. Yet, we must also acknowledge that millions of Nigerians are carrying the weight of these changes. For the mother wondering how to stretch her income, for the young graduates searching for opportunity, and for the small business trying to stay afloat, reforms must not only stabilize our economy, they must also translate into opportunity and prosperity.
The Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, in his address on the state of the economy, acknowledged that the government's reforms may have caused short-term challenges, but maintained that the administration is determined to stay the course toward long-term stability.
Reforms like this, not surprisingly, will come with short-term challenges for households as well as some businesses. However, we are determined to stay the course and ensure that the challenges that hindered the achievement of our manifest destiny are confronted and addressed.
The highlight of the opening ceremony was the address by Vice President Kashim Shettima, who emphasized that Nigeria's unity and progress are key priorities and will not be battered for the interests of any group, organization, or labor union.
Aliko Dangote is not an individual, he's an institution. And he's a leading light in Nigeria's economic firmament. And how we treat this gentleman will determine how outsiders will judge us. It's not about holding the whole nation to ransom because of a minor labor dispute. Nigeria is greater than Pengasan.
As the summit continues, discussions are expected to focus on strengthening public-private partnership, stimulating investment, and crafting strategies to accelerate Nigeria's economic transformation. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Joshua Imaraye.
Joining us now is the CEO of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, Dr. Tayo Aduloju. He will be speaking on the significance of the 31st edition and what stands it out. Also joining in is my colleague, Joshua Imaraye, who has been part of the team covering the event. Thank you both for being here. Joshua, day one, give us a quick recap of the opening event and what really stood out for you, aside from what is in the reports you just gave us.
Good evening, Felicity. Well, day one of the 31st Nigerian Economic Summit has nothing but be an eventful opening for what happens to be one of the foremost gathering of policymakers, public and private sector players, as well as experts and stakeholders across several sectors. The one has nothing to do event because we had the likes of the Vice President of Nigeria, that was the President of Kashim Shettima, as well as the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, as well as the Minister of Finance, and other fireside chats, and as well as plenary sessions that had some sort of public and private dialogue to ensure that Nigerians are carried along in the entire process of policy making and service delivery by government. What stood out particularly for me was was one of the plenary sessions where they had the government official in charge of policy and coordination, that's the President of Addis Ababa Usman, who was grilled intensely for hours concerning policy delivery as well as what the government has in store for Nigerians. And most of the conversations around incentivizing investment for foreign investors, as well as creating a sustainable environment that investment can thrive and affect those who are at the bottom of the ladder in the Nigerian economy. Felicity.
Thank you very much, Joshua, for the coverage. We expect to hear more from you on what is playing out at the summit. Let's now bring in Dr. Aduloju. The theme for the 31st edition is the Reform Imperative, building a prosperous and inclusive Nigeria by 2030. How does this guide discussions?
Well, as you know, the Nigerian Economic Summit themes are drawn from the evidence. They are built on looking at the economic scorecard for the country, and that defines the pillars of the summit, and finally the theme. So when you look at the last few years, it has focused on macroeconomic stabilization reforms, and by institutional global partners and local data and policy watchers, the Nigerian economy has achieved significant macroeconomic stability. But stabilization, whilst it's necessary, is not sufficient, right? You have to translate stabilization gains into inclusive growth, into jobs, into poverty reduction, into the expansion of productivity and diversification of key sectors of the economy. So that's where we have the reform imperative. It is the signaling of a different phase of economic consolidation, where the macro reforms must now be translated into meso reforms, where markets are winning, micro reforms that you see in the performance balance sheets of businesses and households, nano reforms that you see in people's wallet. You know, when Nigerians say it doesn't matter what the macro is, if it doesn't change the price of fish in the market, right? So that's where it's called the reform imperative.
If you know, kindly tell us, what specific initiatives will you be recommending for the federal government to implement to support its economic empowerment as we had the Vice President there reaffirm commitment to restore hope to the vulnerables in the country?
So the summit is premised on 5 pillars: infrastructure, industrialization, investments, international trade, and of course inclusion, while solving for reducing insecurity. Now these pillars put together will be interrogated over the next 3 days. We just finished day 1, and it brings all the critical economic policymakers with key experts from academia and industry to debate this recommendation. So I think it's too early to say what are the initiatives. The initiatives have been debated and dialogued. Current initiatives have been interrogated for their impact and performance, and new ideas have been put on the table. So I promise if you ask me that question in 2 days, I will give you an answer in terms of what the consensus have been about.
Okay.
But at least for today's plenaries, the first plenary on trade, there's a big consensus that if you want to expand, if you want trade, export, diversification and expansion, you must have investments coming to drive trade capacity expansion, and that requires a very specific attention paid to investment climate. We heard from the Vice President, for example, a clear set of targets to eliminate poverty by 2030. Some of that will be debated tomorrow at the poverty plenary as to what strategies do you deploy to get there. Then we heard from the session on the digital, the smart digital transformation this evening, that to close the gap on digital transformation, we still have a long way to go to make cheap, affordable digital connections for all Nigeria available as part of ensuring that all Nigerians can leapfrog into the digital economy and the fourth industrial revolution. So already there's a lot of big challenges to industry and business of where we need to go. And I'm sure in 2 days when we speak towards the end of the summit, I promise there will be a set of initiatives that have reached some consensus we can discuss in particular.
All right, I will hopefully be revisiting some of these questions with you in the coming days. But before we go, I'm told we have less than a minute. Joshua, I just want you to quickly wrap up for us. What do you expect to see at the end of this drive? I mean, are there a lot of representation that gives you some confidence that the conversation will not only be robust, but will drive change?
Joshua,
the question is actually for you. Sorry? Okay.
But we are seeing quite a representation from government officials, particularly the ministers and cabinet members of President Bola Tinubu. Of course, we are seeing the likes of the Minister of Finance, who had his own chat this evening, just a few minutes back, as well as the policy coordinator, that is the president of Abuja, Bala Usman. And we are expecting that more ministers will come on board to tell Nigerians, particularly players in the private sector, what the government has in store for Nigerians, particularly around policy implementation. And of course, more input to be given for those who are experts in this field, and stakeholders across several levels to give what they think should be the way forward, channel a sustainable path for investment and economic growth for inclusive Nigeria.
All right, Joshua, thank you very much. And Dr. Aduloju, thank you very much as well for being here tonight.
Thank you for having us.
You're watching tonight on News Central. A reminder of our top stories. President Tinubu reaffirmed commitment to ending plight of vulnerable Nigerians as 31st Nigerian Economic Summit opens in Abuja. Nigeria's National Assembly staff announced plans to commence picketing over allegations of fraud and unpaid allowances. And President Trump has urged negotiators to expedite actions as indirect talks between Israel and Hamas begin in Egypt. In Port Harcourt, parts of the podium block of the Rivers State Secretariat has been engulfed by fire. According to eyewitnesses, the Secretariat Clinic and the section that houses the Rivers State Pension Board were affected by the blaze. Firefighting trucks numbering up to 6 were seen stationed at the scene to put out the fire. Meanwhile, a Port Harcourt-based activist, Charles Jaja, has called for a thorough investigation into the incident, attributing it to sabotage.
The pension office, that is where the fire started from. That is the ground floor. So, but the cause of the fire is not known to us as of this moment. So the security personnel around, they actually tried, and the boys around, to quench them. They did their very best. Otherwise, even before the fire service came, the boys, they really tried, they did their best.
As at when we received the call, we turned out immediately, and when we got here, the fire was very, very serious. The disaster was big, and immediately we had to get to work. We started with the sites that were very, very serious. Before gradually we started winning, and we also tried to see how we could break and enter areas that were not accessible. You can see now.
As Nigeria joins the rest of the world to commemorate 2025 World Teachers' Day, educators and stakeholders in the country call for a new focus on professionalism, technology, and welfare in the teaching profession. The 2025 Teachers' Day celebration, with the theme Recasting Teaching as a Collaborative Profession, emphasizes the transformative power of teamwork in education. My colleague Omolola Ololade has more.
Oreoluwa is a secondary school teacher in Lagos, driven by passion for the profession and motivated by students' success in school and their future endeavors. She says being a teacher can be a difficult but rewarding job.
When you have passion for children, you are actually after taking care of kids, to ensure that they achieve their aims and goals in life. And that is why I decided to go into teaching, at least to be able to mold these children to fulfill their divine purposes. Everybody say computer system.
Although one of the students says he could never be a teacher, but recognizes and appreciates his teachers for their profound impact on his academic success, personal growth, and lifelong learning.
It's important to celebrate Teachers Day because teachers are the people that make so many of the professions in life. Without teachers, we will not have many professions. So I think it's important to celebrate Teachers Day everywhere, every month, every year.
So today we are talking about sound words.
In the past, teaching was a revered profession, but in recent years changed to one that has been relegated to a circumstantial job, owing to some of these challenges.
One of the main reasons why you have to make the teachers happy, good welfare, is good remuneration. And when a salary is poor, there will be no delivery. There will be what we call poor delivery by the teachers.
What are we learning today?
At a recent education seminar in commemoration of this year's Teachers' Day, teachers called for improved welfare as many believe no amount of money can truly pay teachers for services rendered.
I act as mothers to most learners in school. I act as a counselor. I act as a psychologist for learners that come to school and are traumatized. They see me and they want to talk to me. I act as a nurse for learners that hurt themselves. Before I take them to their parents or to send them home, I treat them first in school.
Encouragement from parents, encouragement from management. Seeing your children succeed is enough reason for you to continue.
Yes. Beyond remuneration and welfare challenges, getting adequate training has been a major challenge for teachers across the country, hence the importance of equipping them with necessary training.
We're reviewing curriculum for students every now and then, right? And it seems like progress. But in my opinion, that's retrogression, because we're not reviewing the curriculum to train the teachers, right? So if we go to the colleges of education, if we go to the teachers training schools, how often do we review the curriculum that is used in these training spaces?
We have teachers who are 21st century ready. They're digitally ready also, because we also train them on how to use tech tools to also drive home teaching.
The remuneration.
Teachers' contribution to the Nigeria's education system and the society remains indispensable. Thus, the need for government, parents, and other key stakeholders to invest heavily in teachers. In Lagos, for News Central, Omolola Ololade.
Many thanks, Omolola. To discuss the significance of World Teachers' Day, I have with me now Professor Stella Wosu, a teacher trainer and staff of the Institute of Education and Professional Development, Faculty of Education, University of Uyo. Thank you for being here. A global event in Ethiopia on teacher education brought up two particular issues, and I want you to take them in bits. The first is the global teacher shortage, and then the second is policy and resource to support teacher welfare. That report by my colleague also captured that. So let's talk about the shortage of teachers, focusing on our domicile location, Nigeria.
Thank you very much. As you have said, there is a global shortage of teachers all over the world. And I feel that what really prompts this global shortage is the mental attitude of the populace all over the world, that teachers are not properly paid, that their salary is low, and so many aspiring young people would not want to go into that profession because they neglected They work under very difficult situations. They don't have the infrastructure, and they're not being paid well. So we have a dearth of young people wanting to enter this profession, feeling that it is not rewarding enough. So especially in Nigeria, many of our youths that we teach and we train, I'm a teacher trainer, we train them, they appreciate us, but they will say that they don't want to be a teacher or they don't want to teach because they feel that we're not adequately remunerated for what we do. And I think this has caused a global, in Nigeria specifically, shortage of teachers, and globally, the same.
So is this a primary concern when it comes to the quality of teachers as well? Because if there, the issue of remuneration is at the heart of refusal to pursue a career in teaching, is that impacting on the quality of teachers? And what would you suggest as a way out of this situation as a teacher trainer?
Okay. It is impacting on the quality of teachers because if, like every other profession, if you're not motivated, you cannot be at your best. You cannot teach at your best. There's a lot of distractions. So the poor quality of our teachers is as a result of the lack of welfare, lack of proper enumeration, and it has impacted seriously on the quality of teaching. Teachers are not really supported in terms of training and retraining. Those that have accepted and are passionate about the job, they are there because they have that passion. As for the training and the retraining, it's not being done. For Nigerian teachers to be globally competitive with their counterparts all over the world, we need a lot of training and retraining. Technology-wise, methodology-wise, and so on, we need a lot of training to bring our teachers up to standard. But that is not happening because the enabling environment is not there. Infrastructure is not there. Professional development is not there.
But unfortunately,
training and retraining of teachers is not happening in Nigeria. And so all this come together to impact the quality of our teachers.
Quite a sad reality. Everyone in this country knows that teachers are not getting the best of the deal. But talk to us quickly about remuneration for teachers. When was the last review? And when is the next review? And how do you think this will impact the crop of teachers that will be coming in?
Okay. We know that the last review, if I can remember, was about, can't quite remember the last review of tertiary education, like in the ASU, tertiary education, which I'm in. I remember that we had an agreement with the government in 2029, which was still negotiating for upward review. That has not taken place yet, and we're hoping that that will happen in the tertiary education. And I know that the government has been reviewing salaries for the federation, and that is when the teachers have any increase in salary. That is a minimum wage. They're carried along with the minimum wage reviews and salary.
Did this minimum wage review trickle down to teachers?
In the future, we're agitating.
Prof, I'm sorry. Did this trickle down to teachers in the rural area? And do you know if that federal teachers scheme is still operational, or they have incorporated some of these teachers into the mainstream?
We have, it is still in progress. Federal teachers scheme is still in progress. Up from my own knowledge, I know that the teachers are being co-opted into the teaching service, and they're paid some minimum wage to be able to cope with their debt in teaching. After some time, some of these teachers are absorbed into the system, but not all of them. And the absorption has not even gone halfway to enumerate the different aspects of where teachers are lacking. In different aspects, rural area, urban area, teachers are still lacking.
All right, Prof. That's the much time will permit us for this conversation, unfortunately. I asked that question specifically because I was one of the first set of people to get 10,000 Naira's remuneration as a teacher, and it wasn't funny. Thank you so much for being here.
Under the federal teacher scheme?
Yes.
Is it under the federal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think that was 2010 or thereabout. I can't remember now. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for staying with us. Global's Bank is pushing for stronger collaboration with fintechs as Nigeria's financial sector embraces rapid digital transformation. At the 2025 Global's Bank FinTech Summit in Lagos, industry leaders, regulators, and innovators gathered to explore how partnerships can drive growth and resilience in banking. News Center's Lecornu Onobanjo reports.
Nigeria's fintech-enabled payment industry surged from 272 trillion naira in 2021 to over 1,100 trillion naira in 2024 at a summit themed Collaborative Intelligence, Accelerating the Fintech Frontier. Global's Bank underscored the need for banks and fintechs to work hand in hand while reinforcing regulatory safeguards.
The industry requires a new play, which needs a new mindset, larger-hearted, in collaborative moves, make the industry truly inclusive. And so we see fintechs as partners, not as competitors. The CBN or regulators should create a framework that vets who leads and who operates fintech.
We need to establish a robust digital infrastructure for next generation payment. We need to look at the stronger compliance framework. We need to look at how partnership will work, how will partnership enable.
I think the NDPR regulation is quite clear and it's out there just for those who are custodians of various data to ensure that they follow the regulation.
Speakers agree that stronger partnerships are crucial for financial stability.
So it's actually important that we combine our strengths, and that way we can actually add value to the payment ecosystem.
We are hand-holding the fintechs, be able to integrate seamlessly, understand our requirements, understand the safety valve that must be put in place, and then we can do a lot more with them.
We have the account services. With that account service, you're able to open virtual accounts. We have inquiry services. For inquiry services, we have balance inquiry, we have name inquiry, we have BVN inquiry, then we have funds transfer.
Digital service providers acknowledged industry challenges but welcomed opportunities for collaboration and government-backed frameworks.
You can spend 3-4 years trying to figure out licensing and relationships with central banks, but if you could ride on the infrastructure of a bank as a financial service provider, you then focus on your own innovation and enable and allow the bank, for example, to go sort out all that infrastructural challenges.
When you find places where there are a little bit of challenges, then you can expect also there will be a solution coming up. Regulation play a very key role in this, and enforcement also have to be the same.
Systems are being put in place based on the bank, the CBN requirement, and also by the collaborative effort between all the players. We now have the fraud committees and fraud forums where issues are quickly being nipped on the bud.
With fintechs reshaping how payments are made, stakeholders say collaboration will define the future of Nigeria's banking industry. In Lagos for News Central, Lecornu Onobanjo.
To infrastructure now, Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has flagged off the construction of Muhammad Isa Road within the Asokoro district of Abuja. The minister during the ceremony said that the road project, when completed, will enhance connectivity to several neighborhoods within the area, reducing travel time and improving access for residents and commuters.
Today is the 10th day of our flag off of various projects, whether in the satellite town or within the city, roads, water project, lighting up our Abuja. Through us, will carry out the directive, will carry out instructions, will carry out the vision of Mr. President. And one of the visions he has is that FCT must compete favorably with other cities of the world. And that is what we are doing.
Your Excellency, the FCT administration, in line with its statutory mandate of providing access roads and other infrastructural facilities, processed and awarded the contract for the extension of Mohammed Isa Street in Asokoro district of the Federal Capital City.
Away from Nigeria, France embattled Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu resigned on Monday, less than 24 hours after forming a cabinet, making his government the shortest lived in modern French history. President Emmanuel Macron's office said in a statement that he had accepted the resignation of his ministers, of the PM and his ministers, which came amid turmoil over the composition of his cabinet, an uneasy coalition of centrists and conservatives. The resignation immediately ratcheted up pressure from opposition parties on the left and the far right for Macron to call snap parliamentary election or even resign, options that the president has so far ruled out. Other forces, like the Socialist Party, argued that it was time for a left-wing prime minister to govern. Delegations from Israel and Hamas have begun indirect negotiations in Egypt aimed at ending the ongoing war in Gaza. The U.S. supports these talks, hoping they will lead to a ceasefire, the release of hostages, and a flow of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Both Israel and Hamas have expressed support for the broad terms of a peace plan proposed by President Donald Trump, which marks the closest the parties have come to ending hostilities. The plan also enjoys backing from Arab and Western nations, with Trump urging swift negotiations towards a final agreement. We'll be back with business, sports, and entertainment news. Do stay with us.
Business camera.
No battery inside.
Eric, why are you turning him on?
What do you mean? I don't swing both ways, bro.
Hey, good, very good.
Pascal, can you hear?
Yeah, you can.
Check with local shots. Look up. Look up here.
I'm gonna put this.
Yep.
Wahala. I'm not even touching the mic.
Who said so? Okay, I think I can hear now.
You can hear.
Yes, I can.
Why are you fixing his talk back? He doesn't deserve to hear you.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, sir. Okay.
What? What notes? Oh, okay.
Talking business now, in continuation of the coverage of the 31st Nigerian Economic Summit in Abuja, the Minister of Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, has revealed that her ministry discovered Nigerian tech companies' plans to expand into 5 countries, namely Ghana, Kenya, Rwanda, Egypt, and South Africa, and has already taken steps to support and facilitate this move. Let's take a listen.
To a round table with our regulators to have a sandbox and determine what it would take for our businesses to extend into that ecosystem. And then the businesses joined us on Friday. So those are some of the tangible, critical ways that we're supporting businesses to leverage on AfCFTA. We're taking policy, trade policy.
Meanwhile, at the 31st Nigerian Economic Summit taking place at a critical moment in Nigeria's development journey, key reforms are already underway. Nasarawa State Governor Abdullahi Sule noted that his administration is prioritizing agriculture as a major driver of growth and development. Let's also take a listen.
Into agriculture, and we will encourage PPP. So that's what we did. That's why today, Fly Mills is in Nasarawa State. Dangote has the biggest sugar plantation they have in Nasarawa State with 68,000 hectares of land. We are called a state of solid minerals. So we started, and let me make this statement with due respect to so many other multinationals. I think Nigeria generally, and especially the subnationals, have to look at partners who are interested in Nigeria, not necessarily partners that we are interested in. I will give you an example. When they discovered lithium of the highest purity in Nasarawa State, I was invited to the Department of Trade in Washington, D.C., and they wanted to know more. So I briefed them about it. They said, we'll actually come back to you. The Chinese discovered actually that we do, so they invited me, and they received me well. So when they invited me, I was there, in Beijing, and I was able to brief them generally about what kind of...
Also, the Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, outlined key policy measures aimed at accelerating gross domestic product growth and ensuring it leads to tangible poverty reduction and inclusive development.
That grow the economy, that create the jobs, that give them the incomes. And so when you have rapid economic growth, you have a good chance of having good jobs that lift people out of poverty. And as you said it's a 3-stage process that started with getting rid of the major distortions that were like the knee on the neck of the Nigerian economy.
Away from the Nigerian Economic Summit, let's take you through Nigeria's equities markets. Now, the NGX sustained its bullish run from last week, even as the all-share index climbed 0.86% to about 144,822.77 points, with market capitalization at 91.92 trillion naira, and of course, a differential of 0.86%. Now, looking at sectoral performance, we see that the banking sector advanced 0.64% here, supported by strong moves in GTCO and Access Holdings. Insurance surged 3.13%, reflecting sustained investor appetite for low-cap financials. Oil and gas rose 3.35%, driven by renewed demand for Seplat Energy and Total Energies. We see that consumer goods inched up 0.12% right there, aided by mild gains in Dangote Sugar, while finally industrial goods 0.01%, just a mild adjustment in the uptake for that particular sector. Well, we'll see that sentiment remained upbeat across most sectors, with energy and insurance stocks leading the charge. That's it on business. I am Lecornu Onobanjo. We'll bring you sports news in a bit.
And in sports, starting off with the world of basketball, Hoops and Reed Club have been crowned champions of the 4th edition of the Chief of Defense Staff Southwest Unity Basketball Championship after urging Police Batons at 55-52 points in a tightly contested final at the Indoor Sports Hall of the National Stadium, Surulere in Lagos. The tournament featured 12 teams from the southwestern geopolitical zones and 1 each from Edo and Delta states. In the third place match, Oluyole Warriors defeated Delta Force 68 to 55 points to win bronze medal. And for their efforts, Hoops and Reeds received 2 million naira in cash prize. Runners-up, Police Baton received 1.5 million, while Oluyole Warriors earned 1 million naira. Hoops and Reeds forward Ikenna Opaluba was named the tournament's most valuable player. Now, speaking afterwards, Nigeria's Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa said the aim of the competition is to promote unity and peace through sports.
Whenever Nigerians are playing any events, Nigerians unite together. And we don't want it to be a one-off thing. Only when we have competition, that's when we unite. Let it be always. And that's the idea of this. So we have done this. We're looking forward to Southeast, the next aspect of it, so that we can also spread it around. We're also in Abuja. We want to, by the end of the month, we want to also do a clinic, a football clinic for the youths. The idea is just to expose them to this. We have so many talents. And I want Nigerians to understand that it's not everybody that...
Now let's talk football. The Super Eagles of Nigeria today opened their camp in South Africa ahead of their must-win 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying clash against the Crocodiles of Lesotho on Friday, the 10th of October at the 45,000 capacity Peter Mokaba Stadium in the same city. Coaches and backroom staff have arrived, while players are expected to arrive ahead of the first training session on Tuesday. Super Eagles manager Eric Shell called up 23 players for the Lesotho tie as the equally important tie against group leaders, the Republic of Benin, on the 14th of October in Uyo. The Super Eagles must beat Lesotho and Benin Republic to stand any chance of qualifying for the 2026 FIFA World Cup in the US, Canada, and Mexico. Nigeria currently occupies the third position on the qualification table with 11 points, trailing both Benin Republic and South Africa, who have 14 points. Now, Team Brazil were unstoppable over the weekend, winning the E1 Lagos Grand Prix, the first ever URM E1 World Championships electric powerboat race to be held in Africa, having recorded the fastest time in the practice session and claimed pole position in Saturday's qualifying race. Team Brazil, with pilots Timmy Hansen and Liva Miller Hagen, duly capitalized on their advantage to win the first ever race. The beat Team Blue Rising, owned by Indian cricket icon Virat Kohli, to second place, while Team Drogba Global Africa, co-owned by Ivory Coast football legend and former Chelsea striker Didier Drogba and Gabriel Amer, have finished third. For their win, Team Brazil got 38 points, taking their tally up to 89 points. However, they are still far off from the title, in 7th position ahead of the final race of the season next month in Miami. Team Brady remains top of the championship standings despite finishing 4th. Their 19 points take them up to 154 points, and they're still separated by 3 points from Team Rafa, owned by tennis legend Rafael Nadal.
Rising legend! Great job! So good.
Yeah, go on, go on. Okay. Let me know when ready when you are.
And that's a wrap on Sports Update. I am Udoka Njoku. Entertainment is up next with Sam Dandy.
Whiskey Day, I hear, is being celebrated. Sam Dandy has the details.
That's right. Super excited for all the FCs. But Wizkid continues his reign as one of Africa's most successful artists, achieving an impressive milestone with 7 #1 songs on Apple Music Nigeria in 2025 alone. Meanwhile, fans around the world marked Wizkid Day like this, as he said. Of course, it happens on October the 6th, an annual celebration first declared by the governor of Minnesota, USA in 2018 to honor the singer's global impact and contribution to music. Now, with both chart success and international recognition, Wizkid continues to reinforce his legacy as one of Afrobeat's most influential figures. Now, recently he was on Spotify's list of Afrobeat's big songs, and interestingly, he's not the only Nigerian to have a day celebrated in his honor. But I think that's so powerful for Afrobeats in such a time like this.
Yeah, he's not the only one, but at least it's for the work that he has done.
Today is his day.
While you were talking, I was just saying, I love my baby, that's my baby.
Okay, is that your favorite whiskey?
One of his own hits.
Okay.
Timeless.
Well, congrats, of course, to Wizkid.
Yeah.
Let's move from that one. Lola Young has filed an intellectual property claim against U.S. producer Carter Lang, accusing him of unjustly demanding songwriting credits on 4 of her tracks, including arguably her breakout hit, Messy. Now, Lang claims that he contributed to writing those songs, but Lola's camp firmly rejects his version. Now, the legal action was lodged in London on October the 1st with Lola and her publisher, Sony Music Publishing. Her legal team says they refuse to let her reputation and integrity be called into question. Now, the suit comes amid her personal challenges. She recently canceled performance after collapsing on stage. Well, while watching this one closely, we'll give you updates, of course, as they happen. And maybe this might spark conversations around producers and songwriter rights. Because in this time, you want to make sure everyone who's a part of a project are duly credited for it.
I agree.
Those are the biggest stories in entertainment. I am Sam Dandy.
And that's our offering tonight. Would love your feedback. Please share them using the number showing now on your screen. You can follow us on social media at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Evo TV, and on YouTube. Thank you very much for being here. Have a good night.